In the past year, I've been lucky enough to travel all over the country. In order to travel more than 2,000 miles in a single day, you pretty much need to fly. Let's rewind to March 30th, 2015. I'm in Seattle planning my trip home, and I wanted to try something new, so I booked two 30-plus hour train rides from Seattle back to Kansas, on a coach seat. The first train would be a 35-hour, 1,377-mile journey from Seattle to Los Angeles. The second would be a similar 33-hour ride from LA to Lawrence. Let the fun begin. Going into this, I had no idea what to expect, and I think that was the coolest part of it all. When you don't know what to expect, it's hard to be let down. You see, train travel is a lot different than plane travel. On a plane, you have to get to a certain altitude before you can walk around. On a train, once you show them your ticket, you're pretty much good to go. Alright, pause the video right there. You see this guy? This guy's name is Jimmy. What's special about Jimmy is Jimmy was the first person on the train to actually introduce himself to me. And it turns out Jimmy and I actually had assigned seats next to each other in the coach car. I knew I would be seeing and hearing a lot from Jimmy over the next 35 hours. And I was okay with that. Jimmy seemed cool. Plus he had a bottle of bourbon and he was definitely down to share. I also got to meet someone else. Here is Ryan. Ryan was on his way to hike the Pacific Crest Trail, which, for those of you who don't know, is a 2,600-mile journey from the Mexican border to the Canadian border. He had this overwhelming sense of calmness, which is insane because that hike is longer than this train ride. Jimmy and I talked for hours. I learned a lot about him and he learned a lot about me. I think at this point we were talking about kayaking, not really quite sure. As we were chatting, we both began to notice that everything outside the window was beginning to change. We were in the Cascades. What did it say? April 1st. I thought you were... Damn, it is April 1st. I thought you were being serious for a second. I was beginning to think about how crazy it was that Jimmy and I would probably never see each other again. And just that out of all the people that were on the train, I happened to connect with him the most. Sure, I could have sat down and talked for hours with a cute girl, but it just never happened. I mean, imagine if it would have. I probably would have never wanted to get off the train at all. And just like that, it was time to say goodbye. So I shook Jimmy's hand and I told him to have a great time in San Diego. And then I said goodbye to this girl that we met a few hours before we got to LA. I've been to LA several times. This time was going to be different though. I was basically just there to stay the night and get on my train at 6 p.m. the next day. Since nothing was planned, I really didn't have any idea on what to do before I had to be back at the station. I was able to get a hold of my friend Rob, who recently moved to LA, and he was down to get some lunch. After we ate, it was pretty much time for me to go, so I said goodbye to Rob and I was on my way. It felt weird stepping back on the train, almost as if it was my first time again, except this time I knew it would be different. You see, I didn't have a Jimmy on this train ride. I pretty much kept to myself. Now I'm sure there was plenty of people I could have talked to and shared stories with, but I just chose not to. In fact, most of this film was actually written on the second half of the train ride. It was nice just to observe. The only person to talk to me on this train, besides the person giving me my food, was this kid right here. And I don't even know if he was talking directly to me. I just know he sat down, looked out the window, and said something like, "Whoa, that's cool." And you know what? I couldn't agree more. The rest of the ride seemed to fly by, except for when we got to Kansas. For some reason, there was an issue with the train that made us stop and start and stop and start like 10 times, adding like 2 hours to the overall ride. But then we got closer and closer, and before I knew it, I was standing by the door, ready to get off.
Alright, take care.
Thanks, have a great day.
Enjoy the sunshine.
Alright, will do. Have a good one.
Thank you. Onward!
So yes, I did spend 70 hours on that train. But like I said in the beginning, when you don't know what to expect, it's hard to be let down. I wasn't let down at all. I got to see some really cool things, and I met some people that I wouldn't have met otherwise. And to me, that's pretty cool.
Take me over by the well. Let me ring the bell, my children, they'll be waiting for me. Won't you pick me up so I can see? I can't stand to be alone where the angels know me. Won't you take me on that train? Won't you take me on that train? Let me ride.